Half of the Checkly CLI users are already coding agents, and this is not a prediction. This is what we see in our numbers today. Since February, more and more agents are using the CLI to manage and configure the Checkly monitoring setup. And right now, we had 50% human and 50% agentic users of the Checkly CLI. We predict that by Q2, agents will be the majority, and by the end of 2026, agents will be the dominant user of the Checkly CLI to control the monitoring setup. The terminal and CLIs quietly became the primary interface for agents doing real work. Configuring, monitoring, resolving incidents, all this can be done by your agents today. So we ask ourselves, what does a CLI look like when their primary users aren't human? Let me show you an agentic workflow with Checkly monitoring. I just received an alert telling me that the login flow of my Shopify store here is broken, so let's check that out so I can try to log in. And let's see, and indeed, nothing is happening. So what are my options now? I could now go the human way. I could go into Checkly. Here we have the fail in login flow. It's a Playwright check. I could look at the results from Northern Virginia or Frankfurt. I could then dive into the trace files to understand what is going on. I could even use AI here to make it investigate for me. But I could also just ask my agent to figure out what's up. So let's do this instead. Here on the right side, I have the codebase open that is powering this Next.js Shopify e-commerce store. And the most important piece here is that I already have the Checkly skill installed. You can install the Checkly skill by calling npx checkly skills install. And basically this Markdown file will provide your agent with all the context that it needs to know to handle anything that is related to Checkly. It will become a real Checkly expert. So let's close this file so that we are not cheating. And here on the left side, we have Claude Code with a prepared prompt that says, I just received a monitoring alert in Checkly. Can you communicate the issue, check what's up, and investigate a fix? So let's try that out. So Claude now discovered that the Checkly skill is available and asks us if it should pull in all this additional context. And of course it should. So let's go. Now, because we have the Checkly skill available, Claude knows that it can call Checkly skills to get additional context on how to use the Checkly platform. It now tries to access all the monitoring results using npx checkly checks lists, and it asks for JSON output, and it wants to use Python to parse the result. So why not? All right, here we have some monitors in my account. All right, it figured out that the login flow is broken. Okay. Let's just trust it to know what it's doing. All right. Let's continue with some Python stuff to parse all the JSON. All right. It figured out that something is broken in the Playwright test and that this is the actual issue. So let's continue. All right, go on. Here we have the Playwright error. And now because we are running the coding agent in my codebase itself, it starts investigating if this is actually an issue that is rooted in my codebase. All right, so it discovered something. All right, it looks into the action that actually accepts the post request. It found the bug. All right, congratulations. All right, it provides a fix. So that looks good. Let's see. All right, but now it wants to communicate that we actually have an issue in our little e-commerce store. So let's see, it wants to update the status pages that are included in my Checkly account. And here you see that the Checkly CLI actually includes guardrails. So Claude wanted to create an incident, but we don't think that AI should just open an incident for you. So we're forcing it by including these guardrails to always ask you for confirmation. So let's go ahead. So it asks, should we go ahead and create this incident? Yes, sure. I mean, we're broken in prod. All right, it now calls npx checkly incidents create. This looks good. So let's check our status page. Here we have it. Let's reload. Okay, login flow is broken. Users cannot log in. Yeah, that's not good. So let's fix that. All right. It wants to add and commit the fix. Let's go. Okay, let's push this. So the push now will trigger redeployment on Vercel. Okay, because I have it written in my Claude MD, it also knows that it can use the GitHub CLI to wait for this deployment to actually finish, to then check if the issue actually disappeared and this was actually the fix. So it's now waiting until this deployment is done. Here we go. Deployment is still in progress. Here, this looks good. Deployment has completed. So let's see. Now it will trigger the monitors that are included in my Checkly account to actually verify that the fix is actually a fix. So here we have now 1 running, 4 passed. This already looks good. All right, this looks pretty green. All 5 checks passing. This looks good. It now wants to update the status page again, but again, we guardrail this. This will resolve the incident. Go ahead. Yes, please go ahead. All right, incident resolved. When we now go back to our status page, everything is green again. I think this is very, very cool. And I think we are done here. We have a nice little summary and it tells us the root cause. So this commit swapped some form names. All right, this is what we did. We committed, pushed and waited, triggered all checks, resolved the incident. And this was all done by Claude. I think this is freaking cool. So with the Checkly CLI, the Checkly skill and access to your codebase, your agent can not only set up your entire monitoring, but also react to alerts and look for fixes and communicate with your customers. But let me show you some features that we built into the Checkly CLI so that your agent can perform at its best. The Checkly skill is at the core of your agentic monitoring workflows. It teaches your agent how to use the Checkly platform, but it's actually only a thin wrapper around the npx Checkly skills command. Most agent skills out there right now are static, but with our skill, it relies on the actual documentation that is built into the Checkly CLI. So whenever you update the Checkly CLI, your agent becomes smarter too. There's no relying on training data or fetching additional documentation. The Checkly CLI itself provides all the documentation your agent needs. And then when you want to access your monitoring data or alerts, you can use the Checkly CLI to get all the data out of the Checkly platform again and get it in human-readable format, JSON or Markdown. And as you've seen in this session today, the agent preferred JSON. And for certain CLI commands, we detect if it's you calling these CLI commands or your agent. For example, if you want to declare an incident via the Checkly CLI, we will ask you for confirmation because that is a big deal and it might notify a lot of customers. If your agent now calls the same command, we detect that and we include guardrails to enforce it to ask you first before declaring a public incident. And we consider this to be a very good thing so that you will stay on the safe side. CLIs were built for humans first, but with these patterns, built-in agent documentation, guardrails, and structured output, the Checkly CLI now caters to our new power users. Half of the Checkly CLI users are already agents, and keep them coming. We are ready for them. Install the Checkly CLI, install the Checkly skill, and set up and control your entire monitoring. I will drop some links in the description below. Let me know how it goes.